So according to Michigan.org, the primary duty of a DNR officer is to enforce natural resources, recreational safety, and environmental laws, and the duties vary depending on location, season, and laws. It started in the 1800s when people began to figure out that there wasn't an endless supply of resources, and so they created the DNR to help protect what they had. And in 1921, the legislature combined several agencies into one unit, and they called it the Michigan Department of Conservation, and that's when they really started working to protect the resources. And then it was renamed the Department of Natural Resources in 1968 because there were more demands placed on the department. At first, it was just kind of protecting like plants, and then they started enforcing laws on recreational safety and more laws.
So the minimum education requirement to become a conservation officer or a game warden is an associate's degree, but like most criminal justice careers, they won't even look at you if you don't have a bachelor's degree, and you need to get one in criminal justice, biology, or environmental science, and education requirements vary by the state that you live in and want to work in. So your experience needed to become a DNR or conservation officer. Recruits, after they finish their bachelor's degree, are required to take a 22 to 24 week academy training program, including 14 weeks of basic law enforcement and 8 weeks of specialized conservation officer training. So firearm safety, survival tactics, ORV operation, fish and game identification and education, and these all vary by the state that you live and work in.
So they have a lot of responsibilities placed on them. One of them is to protect the natural resources like plants and wildlife, animals. They have full power and authority to enforce criminal laws like a police officer. They enforce regulations for outdoor regulations, recreation, like four-wheeling and dirt biking and stuff like that. And they also educate the public on the conservation of resources and outdoor recreational safety. So they'll have classes or they'll go to schools where people can learn about the laws and how they can help protect wildlife. They have helped preserve wildlife in Michigan. We're in Michigan at least, but they have all over the country too. They created programs to educate the public. They do archery programs. They do nature and outdoor education, outdoor skills, and then you can bring salmon in the classroom where you get a tank of them, and then when they're big enough, you can release them into the river to help the population. And they keep people safe by enforcing laws and regulations with recreational safety, and then they also are helping protect the wildlife.
So the nature of the job is conservation officers need to be extremely self-motivated. They don't have a normal 9-to-5 job work week. They kind of go out and work whenever they feel that they need to do something. And it can be laid back at times, but it can also be very stressful depending on the situation and the time of year, depending on if it's winter or it's summer. And they need to be physically and mentally prepared all the time to deal with any situation that they come across. And this is in order to do what's best for the environment and the people and animals that enjoy it. So this is kind of just a video that explains like the day in the life of a conservation officer
covers all aspects of enforcement.
We enforce.
A conservation.
It's big enough.
A conservation officer covers all aspects of enforcement, primarily fishing and hunting rules and regulations. ABC 10's Molly Smurga explores what other areas a conservation officer covers during the busy summer season.
The Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officer's main focus is enforcing state laws concerning fishing and hunting. They also cover other recreational activities, such as ORV and snowmobile enforcement, marine safety, and wildfire assistance.
Every conservation officer is kind of his own little police department. We are the patrolmen, we are the criminal investigators. We follow the cases all the way through the final disposition in the courts. We do our own clerking and our own filing as far as case dispositions and getting all that information back to Lansing.
3 conservation officers cover Marquette County. During the summer, they put in 250 hours of marine patrolling on inland lakes and Lake Superior, and about 90 hours of ORV patrolling.
We patrol all of the waters of the state of Michigan. These are federally controlled navigable waterways. In other words, the Coast Guard has jurisdiction on these waterways. Being waterways of the state of Michigan, from the state of Michigan's boundaries, we have jurisdiction on those lakes. So whether it be the Great Lakes or whether it be the inland lakes, if it's within the state of Michigan's jurisdiction, that's what we patrol. We're looking for both marine safety and fishing game related violations. Some of it will be revenues like boat registrations, but then we'll also be looking for persons fishing with or without licenses. We're going to be looking at size limits on fish and creel limits, also daily bag limits. When we were doing our ATV enforcement, we were looking for safety. We're looking for safety equipment as far as helmets, eye protection, persons transporting passengers on machines that are not designed to do so. There's other violations, revenue violations, such as the ORV trail sticker, which is a public use permit. Anytime you're operating on lands open to the public, whether it be down a county road or on a two-tracker trail in the forest, you have to have the ORV sticker. We also look for environmental impacts from use of ORVs. We're looking for people operating where they shouldn't, operating through wetlands, running cross-country across our forests.
While a conservation officer does patrol a vast land area, they're mindful that people they come in contact with are simply enjoying the outdoors.
We are dealing with people in a recreational aspect. We're not dealing with people in their daily grind. They're actually spending their time and their money to go out on the weekend outside of their daily life and enjoy the outdoors and recreate most of the time with their families. We have a job to do, and it's important that we enforce the laws, but we also have to take into consideration that we are dealing with people in a recreational aspect.
For ABC 10 News Now, I'm Molly Smirka.
Okay, for their financial, like they start off at like about $26 an hour, so it equals out to making about $53,000 a year. And once you've worked longer and being an officer, you make up to about $71,000 a year. They get pretty good benefits because they are state workers, so they get 15 to 35 paid vacation days, 13 sick days, and then they get 8 hours of leave, which means they can go to schools and present and teach Cub Scouts and stuff. And then also they can take an additional 12 weeks off, no pay for a family or medical leave. Holidays, they get 12 holidays off, and then they have pretty good insurance. They have health, vision, dental, and then life. And you can buy an extra life program type of insurance. And then for their retirement, they do have a 401k. And then the state also will contribute towards their retirement, and they'll give 4% towards their retirement, and then also will match, if they want to pay more, they'll match up to 3% of it. And yeah, and then a current event is every year they go up to the Muskegon River and they get walleye, and they'll collect about 50 million eggs and bring them down to the Lower Peninsula and spread them out. And they take about 600 fish and return 60, or they'll take about 600 fish and then they'll take 60 of those and bring them up to MSU for testing and make sure everything's right with them. And then they start collecting at the end of March until the second week of April, and they have to wait on temperature of the fish or the water and how many fish are present and stuff. And then this is a small little video of how they do it.
This is the fall fingerling walleye harvest at Camp Dearborn in Milford, Michigan, a collaborative effort between the Lake Erie Management Unit of the Michigan DNR and the City of Dearborn. For this process, we drain the pond through a pipe, and as the fish come out, they are collected, as you can see here. The fish we are harvesting were left in the pond after our spring harvest so that they could attain a larger size for increased survival after stocking. We were able to collect a total of 987.
And then I think there's one more. I mean, this is how they collect.
Sometimes we set up a scale here and weigh the big ones just for fun, and we'll bring that out next week and do some of that, but we've had them. We're gonna, right now the plan is Tuesday and Thursday of next week. But we'll see how things, the weather holds up for us. Not tomorrow, no. We're hoping.
Me personally, I wouldn't want to do that job because I don't really like fish like that, but gotta do what you gotta do to keep things alive. But yeah, that's all.